So Donald Trump and his people are in a full panic today as Americans are voting, and the Trump people are worried that they're going to lose. This is from Governor Newsom in California. They say, it is no coincidence that Trump and Miller sent their masked men into Los Angeles on Election Day. Trump and Miller are creating chaos in our communities so people who have the right to vote stay home. It's a disgusting display of authoritarianism. So basically, Trump's trying to intimidate people, trying to get people not to vote. Listen to Gavin Newsom, what he has to say about this.
So it's Election Day here in California with the polls closing at 8 p.m. tonight. And of course, Donald Trump is already doing everything he can to suppress the vote. He just came out with a statement saying that the election results already are being investigated by the Department of Justice for criminal activity. He suggests that the election has already been rigged. Sounds familiar. When we kicked off the campaign for Proposition 50, he sent out Border Patrol with masks to intimidate our kickoff rally. To surprise of no one, but chilling nonetheless. He has BORTAC teams. He has folks dressed up in tactical gear, ICE and Border Patrol, 100+ officers in LA as I speak, to intimidate and chill free expression, free speech, to intimidate voters. He does not believe in fair and free elections. What more evidence do we need of the importance of Proposition 50? Yes, on 50.
And they're also tweeting out this today, and I know it's a lot of stress to go through this stuff. I'll just bring for you. I used to live in LA, and I'm concerned about everything that's going on with the Trump people. And sometimes we make jokes and we talk serious, but this idea that I'm going to send masked people and your ICE goons to intimidate people is no good. This is Trump. They're making fun. I'm trying to make a joke here. Trump is crying on Election Day. Also, Gavin Newsom, I guess that they were tweeting out that Karen Levitt was talking about the Trump people are already saying the stuff is rigged. Gavin says they cheat and lie because they know they're going to lose. I agree with that sentiment. Let's see what Karen Levitt has to say about this stuff, though.
The president posted on True Social that the voting underway in California is, quote, rigged. What evidence does he have of that, and what does it mean that mail-in ballots in that state are under legal and criminal review? By whom and why? And also, in this vein, does the White House still plan to issue an executive order banning mail-in voting, and what legal authority do you have to do that?
The White House is working on an executive order to strengthen our elections in this country and to ensure that there cannot be blatant fraud, as we've seen in California with their universal mail-in voting system. It's absolutely true that there's fraud in California's elections. It's just a fact. It is just a fact. They have a universal mail-in voting system, which we know is ripe for fraud. And if you want to deny that, I'm happy to provide you all of the evidence for it. I'd be glad to send that to you after this briefing.
Rigged.
Fraudulent ballots that are being mailed in the names of other people, in the names of illegal aliens who shouldn't be voting in American elections. There's countless examples, and we'd be happy to provide them. As for executive action the White House is taking, yes, we are looking into that. And like any executive order, of course, any executive...
Okay, they're just making stuff up at this point. So basically, she's claiming fraud, and they say, "What evidence do you have?" And they go, "Oh, well, we'll tell you later." That's basically their whole thing here. That's something that the Republicans try to do quite a bit, where they just lie. That's basically what it boils down to. And I agree with Gavin here, right? They lie and cheat because they know they're going to lose. Remember, Trump basically went out with this big lie over and over again. Oh, they cheated this, they cheated that, right? And then if it's just frustrating because like how do you deal with the Republicans in this way? I mean, how do you like they're just gonna lie and cheat? Like, well, what do you do? And then you're also dealing with a voting population that may not detect it. However, I'll say this: not everyone falls for Trump lies. This is an interesting one. This is a voter who I guess changed his vote. Listen to this.
You voted for the Democrat, for Mikey Sherrill.
Yes.
Why did you vote for Mikey Sherrill?
I voted for Trump before, but now I look at Trump is different. The economy I don't look good. That's a vote for Democrat.
You said the economy. Also, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned immigration. What is it about his immigration action?
Well, I'm very sad for this because some people okay, but a lot of people working good. The family is the more important in the life.
So according to this gentleman, he's saying basically, he said, I guess he voted for Trump before, but not anymore, right? I voted for Trump before, but now I look at Trump different. The economy does not look good. And immigration, I'm very sad because the family is the most important thing in my life. I just hope more people like this see what's going on. And it's sad. And it's just, you're always reminded when Trump goes out in the campaign or, Carolyn or whoever, and they lie, some people do fall for it. It's frustrating. And then I think they wake up and they're like, oh my God, Trump's a liar. Look at how terrible the economy is. And look at all this mass people running around intimidating people. And I don't want to live in that world. And so hopefully more people wake up to it. That's why we watch elections. People show up at the polls and make your voice heard. And then you got this weird crap, I think, that with regarding the food money. Maybe Trump people are slow walking in, as I mentioned before. Elizabeth Warren says, after a judge ordered Donald Trump to make SNAP payments, the wannabe king declared he will defy a court order and won't help people afford groceries. Trump's message to 42 million Americans, eat dirt. Ow. Yeah, and Trump's just going to go on and on. I mean, if you want to read this stuff, you can. He'll blame the radical left Democrats and basically saying, I guess he's not going to give out the money until the government opens. But you can just give out the money now. That's what the contingency fund is for. And that's what the court said, that you should, disperse the funds. Listen to more what people have to say of what their voting situation is this election.
I always vote since I became a citizen, and that was 20 years ago. And I migrated from Kenya originally. My family is back home in Kenya, and how I see how things are going on, like with families being separated. As a human being, as a mother, separating families, especially children, from their mothers or fathers, I don't believe in that. So that made me come out and also come and vote.
So that's one big issue. Another one is the government shutdown. Tens of thousands of government workers live here in Loudoun County. A lot of them told us that is really driving them to come out to vote today. Their anger over that.
I think, all of these issues, there's any number of issues that you would get upset and show up at the polls. And actually it's been, proven to where when some people don't pay attention to politics. You watch my channel, you probably pay attention to stuff, but there's some people who don't. Just like your average person on the street doesn't necessarily pay attention that much. But if they go to the airport and things are shut down, or they hear about their neighbors getting arrested, this kind of stuff, like, it's just not business as usual in the USA. And I think more and more people are going to turn against Trump, as you're seeing. But obviously you got to show up at the polls, and we'll see what the result is, and we'll go over it when we find out. But when you see what's going on in the Trumpy land, like, these people are crazy. Now the question is, okay, so why did Trump get the MRI? Is there something wrong with the dude?
Why did President Trump get an MRI during his recent visit to Wall Street?
Look, as President Trump said, he would inquire with the physicians. I'll check back on that. But as the physical itself stated, Kristen, and as you all know, because you were all witness to it, every single day the president is in optimal physical health. This was a follow-up appointment, and we provided a detailed readout of that physical. I'm happy to give it to you again, and I can inquire further.
With all due respect, an MRI is a very specific procedure. It's done on a part of the...
All right, so according to Karen Levitt, the president's in optimal health. I kind of doubt that, but we'll see what else they has to say here.
Body looking for something specific, so it's not generally part of any kind of routine checkup. And in addition, President Trump has said that he wants to be transparent. He told us to ask the doctors, which we have and have not heard back. Why don't we have more information on this?
As I said, I'll check back for you.
And that's actually been a common answer from the Trump people. Either I didn't hear about that, right? Or I'll tell you later, and then they never do. That's their plan. This is Bernie Sanders on the SNAP money talking about it. Trump illegally withheld $5.5 billion in SNAP funds, defying Congress and the courts. He'd rather let 16 million kids go hungry than obey the law. After threats and delays, the White House now says it will comply with a court order to fund SNAP. This is chaos, no way to run a government. But when you ask Karen Levitt about the SNAP thing, her answer is kind of strange. And have a listen to this.
Can you help clear up some confusion about SNAP benefits? Because
Sure.
The president just posted that they will only be given out when the radical left Democrats open the government. and not before. But just yesterday, the administration said it would comply with a court order to expend the full amount of SNAP contingency funds by end of business day yesterday. So did the administration distribute that money or defy that court order?
No, the administration is fully complying with the court order. I just spoke to the president about it. The recipients of these SNAP benefits need to understand it's going to take some time to receive this money because the Democrats have forced the administration into a very untenable position. We are digging into a contingency fund that is supposed to be for emergencies, catastrophes, for war. And the president does not want to have to tap into this fund in the future, and that's what he was referring to in his Truth Social post. So the Department of Agriculture, as for the latest SNAP payment in the judge's order, put out guidance to states today on how to get that money to the recipients of SNAP. But it's going to take some time. The best way to get the full amount of SNAP benefits to those beneficiaries is for Democrats to reopen.
I wonder, and a lot of people keep asking, and I'm right there with you guys, where's the money? And why are you slow walking in this way? Like, are you so against people having food? Is that your plan, or is the money gone? I mean, like the way they talk, oh, you know, there's going to be a delay. Take your time, right? Well, you know, there's that emergency fund. We didn't want to have to use it. I don't know, just the way they talk. And remember, when you ever listen to Trump, he always claims that there's trillions of dollars coming into the tariffs. It's stupid. The whole thing is ridiculous. Like, basically what we're watching with the Republicans is just, you're watching lies every day on live TV. You can literally see what they're saying. And you got to call this stuff out. I mean, this is awful. You're going to see Jeffries talk about the money as well. Listen.
We're in the middle of a 35-day government shutdown. Donald Trump is unlawfully withholding billions of dollars in SNAP benefits from 42 million Americans and 16 million children. There's nothing to be optimistic about relative to the cruelty and the pain that Donald Trump and Republicans continue to inflict on the American people.
See, I think the money hasn't been dispersed. The way that they're talking, the way that we can hear from the Republicans, they're talking about delays and, you know, you got to follow whatever guidelines or whatever, and states need to contact them. And then the Democrats are like saying, no, it sounds like the money hasn't been dispersed. That's why I'm going through all of this with you. This is just a few hours ago. You listen to local people voting. This is a Navy veteran talking about his vote. Listen to this.
I'm not the only one. 20 years in the Navy. I never saw a CC today. I fought for freedom. For somebody like Trump to come and take it away. I'm not a good speaker. I fought for freedom. You see it taken away like this. Hopefully it won't be, but there's a chance. I just can't get over it. I'm not the only one who spent days, months, minutes fighting for what we believe in, to keep this country free and clear. To have somebody like Trump to come in and do what he's doing, and the support he's getting, I just can't get over it.
And I just wanted to see that. You know, you're not alone. If you can see it, he can see it. I can see it of what Trump is doing. You know, and not everyone can express themselves the way they want to, and it's hard because you're dealing with so many emotions on different things, right? You know, I go through this stuff every day, and it's just like, what disaster do we have to talk about today? It's the whole thing's absolutely ridiculous. And so it's good to hear, you know, other people's perspective on it. Also, I never thought I would see this stuff either. To be frank, the stuff that we're seeing. You know, I look at the news and you got this. The Department of Transportation might be forced to shut down airspace in certain parts of the country. And Duffy is the transportation guy. He's going to talk about how, you know, we're not getting paid, I guess. We can listen to a little bit of this.
The controllers got 90% of one payment, 80 to 90% of one payment. They missed the second paycheck. On Thursday, they get an email pay stub that'll show what their next payment is going to be. So this Thursday, they'll get an email that shows that their pay stub is a big fat zero. Many of the controllers said, A lot of us can navigate missing one paycheck. Not everybody, but a lot of us can. None of us can manage missing 2 paychecks.
So we're talking about people not getting paid. That's what we're talking about. And then Trump's then tweeting out about, you know, the Supreme Court overturning his tariffs, that it's life and death, and just tweets out nonstop nonsense. He's saying our stock market's at a record or whatever. The whole thing is just, it doesn't, a lot of times, like I think I feel the same way you guys do. A lot of times it doesn't feel real because it's so absurd. I consider myself a pretty sane person, a reasonable person, and I'm happy to have conversations with you about any of this stuff. And sometimes, you know, like I was saying before earlier in the video, where when you watch the lies of Karen Levitt or any of the Republicans, it's just like, how do you talk to these people who are insane, who just like lie to your face or brazenly break the Constitution, right? Brazenly do things that are illegal. The thing's crazy. And the stuff that they're fighting over, like, for example, hey, let's release the food funds for the emergency that's there so people can eat. And they're like fight tooth and nail to not release the money. And then begs the question, okay, where's the money? I mean, and that's, I guess that would be the overriding theme of all this stuff. Where's the money? And then you know, like I started with, we talk about Gavin Newsom and Trump's sending his Max goons to intimidate people. It's absolutely insane where we are right now. And this is also important in a democracy. Show up to the polls, make your voices heard. And I'm telling you guys, you're not alone. And we're going to watch, we're going to see the results. We're going to see it pretty soon. I'll make another video on this, but I am deeply concerned about this stuff. And sorry I get upset, but I think it's important to have these conversations, and I'll leave it at that. So thank you for your time, everyone. And I'll catch you on the next video.